Welcome to Fight News Now Extra. I'm John Pollock. We have all of today's news for you with John Ramdeen and Robin Black joining me. We're going to discuss a potential return for Dan Hardy. Robbie Peralta speaks to us ahead of his bout this weekend. There's a heavyweight fight in the works and much more. UFC Tonight announced on Wednesday that welterweights Brandon Thatch and John Howard will fight at UFC 189 on July the 11th. Thatch will attempt to bounce back from a loss to Benson Henderson from February, while Howard has lost his last 3 fights, all at 170 pounds. Ariel Helwani reported on Wednesday's show as well that a heavyweight bout between Frank Mir and Todd Duffy is in the works for sometime later this summer, with no date being mentioned. Duffy has been pushing hard to get the fight with Mir, who came back after a year off to defeat Antonio Silva in February, while Duffy had his own sabbatical of 2 years and returned last December to stop Anthony Hamilton in 33 seconds. This Saturday night's Fight Night card in Fairfax, Virginia will feature a featherweight bout between Clay Guida and Robbie Peralta. Both men are coming off losses in their outings, and recently our cameras caught up with Peralta to chat about Guida and gaining a W in Fairfax this Saturday.
We're entertainers as well as fighters, so the crowd, they want to see an entertaining fight. They don't want to see a boring fight. They want to see something they get excited for, get pumped up for. So that's what I'm here for. I'm here to make an exciting fight. I'm here to leave it out all in the cage and trying to knock them out. I'm here to fight the best fighters in the world and to move up and hopefully get a title shot one of these days. And this is a big step towards that goal. And Clay Guida he's the next in line. So beating him it's a big step and a big accomplishment. So I got to look forward to that.
And finally, it appears that Dan Hardy has not shut the door on fighting again following a recent fan Q&A in Ireland. Hardy noted that he still has the desire to fight and feels he could fight at least 2 more times, mentioning he would love to fight Josh Koscheck and also mentioning Diego Sanchez's name. Hardy has not fought since September of 2012 due to a heart condition known as Wolff-Parkinson-White syndrome, which he has been told would require an operation to fix, and he did not want to undergo the procedure. This Saturday, our preview show kicks off at 10 a.m. Eastern Time with John Ramdeen and Robin Black getting you set for the fight card from Fairfax, Virginia. The prelims will kick off at 11 a.m. Eastern Time with 4 fights airing here on Fight Network, and then the main card is on TSN2 featuring featherweights Chad Mendes and Ricardo Lamas in the 5-round main event. We're chatting about Saturday afternoon's Fight Night card with Chad Mendes and Ricardo Lamas headlining the card from Fairfax, Virginia. A very intriguing featherweight fight, one that features 2 guys that have challenged for the championship numerous times in the past for Chad Mendes with 2 losses to Jose Aldo, but certainly both guys looking to rebound and get back into that title hunt. I look at both of these guys as, you know, very equal in certain regards, but you look at Chad Mendes and that performance against Jose Aldo, I mean, he's the favorite here in this fight for a reason.
I would expect, you know, he's going to use his physical power, his speed to try to overwhelm Ricardo Lamas, who is going to have a sizable reach advantage, I think 5 or 6 inches. Will he be able to use that? We saw Dennis Bermudez get in close to Ricardo Lamas and put him up against the fence. Chad, if he can do that, you would expect that Chad Mendes will be able to do that. He's going to try to make this fight as physical as possible, so Lamas has to be very, very smart.
Lamas' best moments ever, I mean, Eric Koch, he literally performed like, elbow surgery on his face, like that was scary, and his 5th round with Aldo. And for my breakdown on the previous show, the only common opponent these guys have is Aldo in the UFC. You take WEC, they do. But Lamas has 6 UFC victories, and Mendes has 7, and none of those are against the same guy, which is really weird for top 3, top 4 guys. So you look at the Aldo common opponent, and they were very different fights. You know, Lamas tried to fight him at distance, and you're not going to do that against Chad Mendes, who closes the distance. Lamas couldn't get Aldo down till round 5. Mendes could get him down right from round 1. I mean, that common opponent really shows the differences in a lot of their skills. I think Chad Mendes is going to do it.
But I do like the diversity of Ricardo Lamas. This is a guy that is not afraid in that last fight with Bermudez, throwing head kicks right off the hop, spinning attacks. So I think if he can just try to confuse Chad Mendes, he might find success. But again, I think we all realize how good Chad Mendes is.
Should this fight go late? I mean, are you guys favoring Chad Mendes? Should this one, be hitting the 25-minute mark?
I think if Ricardo Lamas can, keep that in his arsenal, try to make sure that in the 4th and 5th round that he's the fresher guy, he could win those rounds. But Chad Mendes to me is just too physically awesome, and I think he can overpower.
He's one of the best athletes in all of fighting. But Lamas in round 5 against Aldo looked phenomenal. So he does have conditioning as a key focus, a key feature of his fighting arsenal. Whereas you look at Mendes, and he got a whole bunch of first-round knockouts, a whole bunch of them, by really emptying the tank, redlining until the guy was out. Then he fought Nick Lentz and couldn't get him out of there. He was ill. He was ill, no question about it. But that performance, seeing him have tougher later rounds, that does open the door for Lamas, who is really, you're not going to just finish him easy. So round 4 and round 5, if we're in it, Lamas is going to feel like he's got a very good shot to win.
So a strategy for Lamas is go out and win that first round for sure, and then try your best to win rounds 3 or rounds 4 and 5. Just, of course, you're trying to finish your opponent, but you look at that path, that probably makes the most sense, considering you're going to come out fresh against Mendes.
Well, if you believe rounds 4 and round 5 are yours, my math is pretty good, and that means you need one of the first 3.
Right.
Like, number 1 would be great, set the tone, push him back, but I'm sure he'll take whichever one he can get. And Mendes in round 1 is going to really be digging those hooks, and he's a scary little cat.
But is he going to be cautious in round 1?
Mendes?
Yeah.
You don't see a lot of caution out of that guy, so... the more you talk it out, the more exciting this fight really is.
Yeah, and not even going into the wrestling aspect of things, which could play a major factor in this fight. Let's talk about Iaquinta and Jorge Masvidal, 2 lightweights coming in with 3-fight win streaks. Iaquinta is somebody that, we saw him in the Ultimate Fighter house, and I don't know where everyone really projected he was going to get to in the UFC 155-pound weight class. But, I mean, he has matured into a quality lightweight, and Masvidal is a veteran that's a big, big victory if you're Iaquinta. To me, it's maybe the most important fight just in terms of a guy that could be making his way up to that top echelon of the lightweight picture.
Yeah, I look at Masvidal as a guy that really could be in the top 10 at 155 pounds. He's got experience, he has the fight abilities, he has the fight IQ, he has the experience, he has all these factors. But Iaquinta, when we were talking to Chris Weidman when he became the UFC middleweight champion, he was high on a couple of guys, John Vellante, which is his buddy, and Iaquinta. He said, if these guys can do in the octagon what I know that they're capable of, because I've seen it every day in training, that these guys are going to be animals, and absolute animals.
Absolute beasts.
Absolute beasts. And we're starting to see that from Iaquinta, because you saw his first couple of performances after the show. It's like, okay, this guy's good, but I don't know if he's that good. I think he might be a little bit overhyped. And then you see the last couple of performances, especially that Pearson fight.
No one was picking
I think you were. I think
yeah,
Robin was
did.
Robin was
and
picking
I'm picking him again.
I wasn't a believer, but and then you see John Vellante not panning out as well. So it's like, okay, I get it. He's hyping up his buddies, but Iaquinta seems to be the real deal. Will he be able to handle Masvidal? Because we all know, again, battle tested. And
tremendous boxing. I mean,
and if
Masvidal,
you have to kill this guy because
unbreakable.
He's unbreakable.
Unbreakable. And I'm on the Raging Al train. Like I'm like driving it. Like I think this guy is very much like Weidman. He has that super complete game. There's a lot of similarities between the way he ties his striking and wrestling together with Frankie Edgar. And I know they're both from that New York area. I don't know how much time they spend together or they overlap coaching-wise, but it's that same mentality. Very, very hard to deal with. But Masvidal, man, he will hammer you. He'll beat you up. His flow is really good. He's not a game plan guy because he doesn't give a shit. He's just going to go fight you. But if he's leaning one way, you'd like to see him get in and really work that super fluid kind of sweeps and reversal control wrestling game, because he's very good there too. It's a stellar matchup. Super mega stellar.
10 fights on this card, and we haven't even mentioned Dustin Poirier fighting on the. He's going to open up the main card. You have Clay Guida taking on Robbie Peralta, and the return of Gray Maynard.
Yeah, wow.
He has not fought since, it's been a lengthy break for this guy. I believe November 2013 was the last time we saw him. It's going to be, to me, a very pivotal fight for one Gray Maynard.
Yeah, and again, he has a name. He just has to go out and perform well. A lot of people were saying that about Sam Stout. I don't know how good this matchup is going to be with Pearson. Just go out, be competitive, and look good. And I think you'll change a lot of people's opinion, and Gray Maynard has to do that.
I think the guy right now who you look at for how to turn your career around, at least for one fight, is Frank Mir. Frank Mir gets it together physically and mentally, and goes out and performs super wicked. And that's what you got to look at it the way he did.
Preview show is Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern. Prelims here on Fight Network at 11 a.m. And then the main card, 1 o'clock p.m. over on TSN2. We've got more Fight News Now Extra.